welcome to the Friday Facts number 385. Finally 385 for this actual time, except I don't have a mojo with me. I have a backup. I went and stole an American. I have Mr. Iron Wolf with me. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. We're going to cover the Friday Facts with the Asteroid Collector because everybody likes some tentacles, right?
Tentacles are awesome.
So, this one's by Arendelle and Harusa. Let's go with Harusa. Arendelle is the one that does the space exploration mod, and he was hired during the space exploration, Space Age DLC expansion 1.2, 2.0 version of Factorio to do concept art and probably a little bit of story writing and other things in there. But yeah, this is going to be mainly by him, which is hopefully going to be very interesting. Actually, it's very interesting, but there's a whole bunch of maths as well. So I had to get help. So Arendelle came in. He was working on the early space station concept, trying to figure out how the movable ships would look. And we knew we wanted some way of getting the asteroids onto the ship, hadn't decided how it would be done. At this early stage, all the new structures had very simple placeholder graphics, which is quite normal for game dev. Although we started with grey boxes, it's best to get these replaced by something that looks more appropriate as soon as possible, because there's only so many grey boxes you can look at. The earliest placeholders are usually a quick sketch of something in the right shape. Something is kit batched together, which is like throwing it together from many existing assets or whatever you can find quickly online, or something grabbed from one of his existing mods. For the Asteroid Collector, a fairly generic side-mounted structure was used as a placeholder. If we stuck with something like this, it would have used some sort of tractor beam to pull things in. So, Iron Wolf, I have to ask you, would a tractor beam from Star Trek suit Factorio in the slightest?
Yeah, I agree with that it's not quite how Factorio normally works. Like the projection shields that Arendelle put in space exploration are kind of the only energy thing that I really remember seeing in Factorio.
Oh, that and lasers. That's really about it.
Yeah, lasers, yeah.
Yeah, but lasers, let's be honest, you can't move ammo to the front line forever. Eventually, lasers are the answer. Lasers and flamethrowers, yeah.
And the lasers are real.
Yeah, that's true. Tractor beam just didn't feel very Factorio. It's far too much in the magical ethereal sci-fi direction, as used all the time. I wanted something more mechanical, and Albert agreed. The tractor beams are out. It's not that Factorio doesn't have high-tech stuff. It's just better doing it in a way that's more tangible and industrial where we can. I invented a lot of alternative options, but here are 5, along with some proof of concept sketches, which is one of the things I really like about Factorio, that we get to see some of the behind the scenes and artwork. So we have the rocket guided harpoon or bag. Small rockets would wrap the asteroid chunk in a bag upon impact and pull it to collector mouth using a tow line. Yeah, no. A long inserter like arm. That is as Factorio as you get.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. All the Canadians are like, yes, we have the arm.
Yeah. I could have definitely gone with the long inserter like arm. I should also mention these concept arts have a chute at the back, like Lotus style, rather than inserter.
Yep.
So they were going to run with just shove stuff in the front and stuff comes out the back. A paddle to slap things into place. Yeah, no.
I don't feel like Factorio is a pinball simulator.
Well, it could be. The only thing to go with a pinball simulator is a scoop, which is where the ball goes when you fail at pinball. Yeah. They opted not to go for, well, the paddle, the inserter, the harpoon, or the scoop. The scoop is basically because all ships would end up as just a V shape, a W, or many W's, because let's be honest, Factorio engineers optimize things as best as possible, and this is the most optimal structure. Yeah.
The front of my ship needs to be a vacuum.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we had number 5, a flexible snake arm. Unlike the inserter style arm, this would act on the same ground plane as the asteroid chunks and the platform itself, meaning it would need to snake around any protruding defenses. This is an very interesting option to build with, as the platform shape affects interception time. I thought I'd do something pretty cool with a flexible arm idea. I started with a set of sketches, trying different machine structures and collector mouth shapes. The arm itself is the most similar to the design of real-world snake robots, but with it being anchored at one end. It quickly became known as the Tentacle in the Friday Facts. Also worth noting that I moved the crashing function out of the Asteroid Collector to a dedicated machine. This lets the crasher be used by some late-game advanced recipes and expand the middle of the platform. And we have a bunch of concept art, and some of these I've noticed still have the chute at the back, or at least a provision for the chute at the back to have things just spit out onto a belt. But I do like there's definitely one that looks like a snake.
And then some of those on the right look like they have the belt inside them.
Yeah, like that looks like it has a belt. That looks like it has a belt.
Arm just comes in, lets go, and
yeah. Yeah, but they end up going for this one. Yeah, this one and this one. That's the yeah, that's the front and that's the side angle. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Slightly different, but it's close. Yeah. Below is the concept I presented to Covrex. Up to this point, people were skeptical about snake or technical ideas, so it was down the concept art to win people over. Otherwise, we might be back to square one. Fortunately, as soon as Covrex saw this, he was on board and people were convinced too. Harusha stepped in to make it reality so he could take it from here. And you actually pointed out a couple of things I didn't notice. So one,
I really like this concept art.
yeah, I do too. We have. Did I save it? So I have a separate picture of just it is in the game currently, and there are a couple of changes. So one, this has, as you point out, the giant gear wheel at the back for the snake arm to roll up and unroll, which is
the center of it. Is the vertebrae of the arm.
Yeah. Also, the giant belt on the side to, kick it out in a hurry. I sort of wish they'd kept this. I'm willing to bet they dropped them because it would probably be fairly CPU intensive to have that scale roll in and out to line up with the speed at which the tentacle arm thingy's going in and out, especially as some of them have multiple arms.
It feels to me like the in and out is generally a fairly constant speed, so I think it could just be a animate forward or reverse. But
yeah, but when you got five arms,
I kind of like the way that it felt like a big chain coming off of like an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Is it how I imagine that being animated?
But then again, when you got 5 arms and some are going in and some are going out, what's the back half doing? I think that's might have been one of the reasons they changed the concept and the rear of it.
It works real well for a single tentacle out of it.
Oh yes. You never know. Maybe someone will end up using this in a future mod because like the graphics are basically here. As long as you have permission, and generally Woob is not complained about people using past Factorio graphics in things. Maybe we'll find it in a future mod at some stage. But yes, it's taking a step back in time.
Unless it's that copper top battery.
Actually, I don't know. I don't remember any complaints about it. But yes, there's a certain battery that used to be in Factorio that looks very similar to a battery you may find in real life. That's black at the bottom and copper at the top. Yeah. So taking a step back in time, let's talk about the gameplay side of things. So things unfold in the meantime. Keystone featured the platform production cycle. The collector starts life under Arendel's hands, the grey box. It was a simple time. Asteroids were not even a real thing back then, so machine was just an assembler which continuously crafted chunks out of the thin air. Once we had asteroids in the game, the first version actually collected them, cast a simple rectangle around them. Any entering chunks would immediately get teleported to the collector's inventory. Nothing flashy, but enough for a playtest. The next advancement was collecting asteroids mechanically. Seeding kicked things off by implementing Arendel's earlier harpoon idea. So we had something that sort of works. It reminds me of asteroids. Asteroids from the very, very early days.
And one little detail that I'd noticed in the video that I like in this implementation is when the grabber hits the asteroid, it bounces out a little bit.
It gives it a bit of a push.
Yeah.
I don't.
It makes the physics look real.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still in the game because now it's grabbing it and yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, those tentacles are a lot sturdier than
Yeah.
a line.
At this point, the collector could be placed anywhere on the platform, requiring it to touch the edge. Similar to an offshore pump was considered, but no conclusions had been made yet. Testing with self-imposed limitations took place and quickly exposed a crucial problem. Since the effective reach was relatively long, the optimal strategy was always to insert the collectors away from the lucrative platform edge. Such a setup invited little decision making from the player. The entire edge could be dedicated to turrets, whilst the interior could provide plenty of room to unload and process chunks. On top of that, all the visual harpoons or arms reaching over buildings for chunks at platform level were dubious at best. Logical conclusion was collectors should require access to open space. This happens to create an interesting dynamic between defenses and resource collection and rewards efficient belt usage. This was at the time when Arendelle was putting together the concept for more organic feeling bendable arm, which ultimately made it in the game. So even before we had the tentacle arm, they were leaning together towards something that needed to be at least on the edge, and also it needed clear access to space, so mounted to the side of the platform rather than top of the platform. But then we have Day of the Tentacle. Did you ever play Day of the Tentacle, Ironwolf?
I'm of the generation that definitely could have, but I don't think I ever did. I think I did some Monkey Island and some of those other that was all LucasArts, right?
Oh god, now you're asking. I actually don't know. Look, there'll be an answer in the comments section, okay? I don't think Day of the Tentacle was LucasArts. I know Rebel Assault was LucasArts, obviously. Monkey Island, I want to say led to Maxis. I might be
Yeah,
wrong.
it could be.
Led to either
Look at
Maxis or
Monkey
like
Island and Loom and everything.
Sim Maya? One of the two. I think they started off with Monkey Island and then went from there. Day of the Tentacle, I don't know. It's so many years ago.
It's 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 old brain.
Yeah,
Doesn't know all
look,
it is.
I had the tentacle came with I think it came with a CD-ROM at one stage in a triangle box. Back when games came in boxes. Anyway, to the tentacle. It was now up to me to figure out how to make it all happen with the expected behavior layout. I can separate the tasks into multiple individual features, quite like you do when playing Factorio itself. You want to move in increments which can work on their own. So drawing the arm, just that, no other behavior or function. Moving the arm between poses, weaving the arm around the platform without clipping or colliding, is that even possible in all cases? And making the collectors not waste time by fighting over the same chunks. So if you've ever played Factorio multiplayer and you've got somebody around you with a rocket launcher and you with an SMG, you could find yourself face to face with a biter that's eating at your face that you can't shoot because technically the biter's already dead with your friend's rocket that's been launched at said biter, but the biter doesn't know it yet because the rocket hasn't got there. That's again Factorio not wasting resources by you wasting ammo shooting the biter that's eating your face, which hasn't received its rocket of death yet. Yeah, I'm okay with sometimes us wasting resources, especially when I'm being eaten alive, literally. But you know, for collectors, I understand.
Well, I think that's similar to when you've got a belt that barely has any items on it. You've got inserters on both sides, and they're both like, "I want to grab it. I want to grab it."
Yeah, that was an optimization pass at one stage because you would have situations where two inserters would fight over something and then one would be able to grab it, but the other one had made the action to grab, so it couldn't grab. And then the next little piece would slide past it, and it'd be like, you could have had the next one if you'd just been patient. Yeah. So for reasons that will be helpful later, I decided to express a particular pose as a segmented line, a series of angles starting from the base. Additionally, each pose includes an extension value. This way the arm can slide up and down along the length of the curve without calculating any points. So we have from 0 degrees to 15 degrees to the right, 15 degrees to the right again, 0 degrees being straight, and then 20 degrees to the left. And yes, the arm can slide 2.5 segments in, or 4 segments in, or 1.2 segments in. But I'm pretty sure this means that the arm has a total reach of 4 or 5. I'm going to go with
I
5.
don't recall right now. Wasn't one of the proposed things technologies for the arms being able to reach further?
I don't think so. No. And there's always the question about
Either
quality.
that, yeah, that or the quality. I thought one of the two made
Quality should increase
reach.
something's range normally when it comes to a gun. But the catch is, with a tentacle arm, does it give you more tentacles? Because if it gives you more tentacles, I think that's way more important than having longer reach.
Yeah, I think the quality, if I remember right, quality was number of tentacles, but I thought
They haven't said.
possibly there was a research for length. But
They haven't
I
said. They haven't said. At least not to my. I don't remember them. I don't remember them covering quality in the tentacle arms. Maybe they covered research and length, but I don't remember it. But they tried adding a control curve, which would add some swing to the arm, but it turned out a little. It looks perfect to me. That one grabbed 2 without a problem, and then
that's how I would do it.
yeah, 100% whiplash. Like if you beat the crap out of that stone on the way in, it comes in pre-crushed. You just got to smash it against the hull or something. I think this works perfect. Yeah. So change your plans.
Get enough G forces.
Yeah, enough G forces on the way in. You know, if you swing it hard enough, you can get some momentum for the whole like space platform, and that's how we're going to propel ourselves, by yanking asteroids and swinging them around. Yeah. So we're thinking about the collector. We decided it needs to be able to harvest additional chunks after it's been extended. Since the arm is represented as a series of angles, we can blend between sharing the design post by simply blending each individual one. I do want the claw to move at a constant speed. However, because we are blending angles, said speed varies greatly. Depending on whether the arm is extended to 10 or 20 units, turning the base by 5 degrees will lead to vastly different results. Even though the arc of the traveling connector appears circular, is in fact a complex shape which cannot be easily measured. I think the easiest way to describe this is if you ever sit on a swing and you pull your arms in, you spin faster because your center of mass is closer compared to spreading them out. And also when you spread your arms out, you're still rotating at technically the same speed, but your arms are moving through more air. Same would apply to helicopters, etc. With larger rotors, it passes through more air, giving you more lift with longer helicopter blades. Even though
I was thinking we could say something about records, and I was like, no, people don't know what records are. And then
not
CDs
nowadays.
came to mind, and
Not nowadays. Yep.
Spinning hard drives.
Nah, not.
Okay, so nobody knows about things spinning anymore.
Yep. Swings. Yep. Car tires, sort of. Yeah. All right. So instead, I found a way to weight all the individual angles together quickly and project the arm into a circle. Then I measured the distance between 2 arm poses on a circle to get a good, consistent estimate of the traveling distance. So this video is going to take a second, and we're probably going to have to go through it a few times. So we have the A, the B, and the C. C is going between A and B. That's all it's doing. Including changing the distance. A is these 3 sliders, which is these 3 angles of the segments. So this would be what, 1 segment, 2 segment, 3 segment, 4 segment, 5 segments. It looks like there's 5 total. And as we play through it, you can see that A is going to twist in the middle, and B is also going to twist and wrap around to here. But this is how he's got to the calculations by, well, basically setting this to A to here and then B to over here, and trying to work out how an arm goes from there to there to grab 2 different chunks. Basically a lot of helping to work out how to run the maths visually as a visual aid for himself. Yeah, the arms are projected onto the teal circle to estimate the arc travel distance. So yeah, try and estimate the distance between, like I said, A5 and B5, and yeah, how to get from A to B. But the final design problem is a lot of different ways for an arm travel between 2 poses. This is because of the angular speed relationship mentioned above. The shorter the arm is, the faster it can turn, i.e. when it's moving down here, it moves a lot faster than it does up at the endpoint. It also takes some time to react and extend to reach the optimal traveling distance. Just like with the arc distance, I spent some time trying to express the mathematical problem to do a true solution. Then I realized I could just get really close with much less effort. Instead of searching for the absolute best extension to swing at, I choose extensions at some fixed intervals, compute the travel distance for each, and then select the best one. In practice, you can't even tell whether the path is 0 or half a unit from the absolute best arc as there is to take. So to get from A to B, he has either come in 4, spin by 10 and go out by 8, or come in by 7, spin by 5 and go out 11, or go all the way around 16 and then go out by 4. And any path is good path. They're all going to be about the same.
Yeah, if you add those up, it's 20, 21, and 22.
Yeah, they're all going to be about the same, as long as it looks all right. And from what we've seen of the Friday Facts and the Tentacle Arms so far, they look cool. Let's be honest. They just look cool. I'm sold. I want my tentacles. So, around this time, we started debating on the performance costs. Covrex likes the feel of the arms a lot, but want to ensure that all the links being simulated would not impact large factories with dozens of platforms. To that effect, we could use the previous step. Since we ensure the claw travels at a predictable speed, we do not need to update its position every tick. Once the desired path is found, we store the distance, then we increment a single internal number, which tracks how far along this path the claw has traveled. Only if the arm is visible to the player do we evaluate the actual intermediate arm pose. So, i.e., if you don't look at it, it doesn't happen. I love it. It just happens in magic, in maths, and auto magic in the CPU. But
in 20 ticks, it'll be over there and eat that new asteroid.
Yeah. But if you look at it, you'll see it actually go and grab that asteroid. But if you're not looking at it, it doesn't happen. It's fine. Don't question it. So then they added the most complex parts. With the arm motion covered, I moved over the pathfinding problem. The initial idea was to pull a classic A star and map out all adjacent tiles to find the shortest path from the collector from each one. Now, this is what they use for biter pathfinding, which they've used in the past. It works. There's nothing wrong with it. It's very good at individual paths.
It works well for biters because each biter needs to know where it's going.
Yes. However, the records of each tile took up a lot of space, and the resulting paths end up being very jagged, which looks terrible and required further processing. It's something they've done with biters. Biters have been vastly improved in their pathfinding costs over the last, 2 years prior to 1.0 coming out. So now you can have lots of biters on the map, and they just don't hurt performers nearly as much as they did before. That is, unless you shoot thousands of artillery shells at thousands of bases, which were idle 5 seconds ago, because then they're not idle and then they're grumpy. Furthermore, the collectors often... Yep.
There's half a dozen past Friday Facts on A-Star.
Yeah, and they swapped out A-Star with something else for some pathfinding.
I think it's a modified A-Star, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yes, you're right. They have covered A-Star and their derivative that they're using now and in a previous Friday Facts. Yep. So the collectors often sit around wide open areas, traversing those tile by tile every time a chunk floats by is absolute overkill. In light of this observation, I decided to implement a navigation mesh. A nav mesh covers open areas in large rectangles. Then it casts rays to find all the direct connections between significant corners of those rectangles. The construction and maintenance of nav mesh takes some computable power or whenever the player builds platform tiles, but the return is much more frequent. Pathfinding is greatly sped up. Even better, the paths we find on the nav mesh are the shortest and simplest possible. So it basically, each time you build platforms in space, you need to do a quick calculation, relatively speaking, on all the paths that the arms might have to take, and then they cache the hell out of that data. And then, because it's cached, they can access it very, very quickly. Whereas beforehand, it would be lower cost overall, but a lower cost. It would be higher cost every single path. Yes.
Yeah. So all of the complicated boxes on the left are what it would have to do all the time.
Yeah.
Versus the simplified boxes on the right.
Yeah. Which only have an impact when you go build stuff. So don't build large sections of platform at once when you're mega basing your space platforms. Or if you do, expect it maybe somewhat substantial, small, depending on how big your platform is, how close to the limit you are, and how big, how slow your PC is. Yeah. Performance cost when you build large sections of platform in space on your mega Death Star. Yeah. To make the polygon mesh path more palatable, I approximate using a non-uniform rational B-spline. Yeah, which smooths out sharp corners. The nice property of NURBS is it quite reliably... What?
NURBS.
NURBS. Okay, NURBS, sure. It's quite reliably hugs the guiding points. This makes it very popular in 3D modeling applications. Besides smoothing, there are a few other minor tricks I use to enhance the look. So having a minimum reaction distance between each collected chunk to prevent vacuum cleaner collecting. So we have... Is it this one? I think it's this one. It's this one which shows two of them. And yes, giving the claw horizontal wind up when and landing when targets are in line to prevent pogo collecting. And actually, I think it's this video. Yeah, it's this video. So we'll see when the arm goes out. It does a... Not maybe for an individual target, but for multiple targets, it does a little bit of a reach, a little bit of a grab, and a little bit of swing back. And these only have one arm each. So I'm wondering, because they do mention that in the other video we're going to look at in a minute, that this is a maximum quality legendary spaceship, and all its tentacles have multiple tentacles. Yeah. So we wiggled each arm slightly at random to stop them turning a corner in unison. And again, if we go to this video with play. This one here wiggles itself around the corners, and they all have slightly different paths. Yeah, this has multiple arms. I'm willing to bet this is legendary.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I'm willing to bet legendary gives you more arms, but maybe there was a research to give you a couple of extra arms. That seems to ring a bell. I don't know. We're gonna get corrected in the comments.
Either number of arms or the length. Something.
But it does mean that, yes, because the arms have to reach around to things, and rather than just being able to put the arms anywhere on the platform and then use space harpoons, it does mean that the front of the ship being used for guns is that much more important, and having the guns as far forward as possible is also super important to make sure that they have as much time as possible to shoot things when a spaceship starts traveling real fast. Because that's something you need to take into consideration when you start traveling in space really fast. And then we leading swings with the base of the arm to make the front appear to be dragged. And again, that's much more... Let's try that one. It means that they preference the first joint being moved, which also gives them the fastest swing between one extreme and the next. So if we go back to this one, they'd preference the 5, technically, because it would move the arm the most. Well, they'd preference the joint that's closest to the mouth to move, to do the highest degree change. Yes. That's the words I'm going to go with. I hope that made sense. Yeah. But we do have this little video as well, which shows the arm wrapping around the corners around the nav meshes. Can I turn you back on a loop, please? Yeah. And yeah, it very, very closely follows the the frame, the edges of the space platform, which is really what you're looking for. It really looks very organic. I was going to go with real, but that's probably not the right word. Organic. Yeah. I also want to play with this in editor mode and be able to drop space asteroids out with my mouse and have this thing collect them. Yeah, that's high on my list of things too. Yep.
It tries to swing that part closer to it, so it looks like it's pulling it back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the streamers or whatever for the performing artists that do like the dancing thing at halftime.
Oh yeah.
So you're moving that bass part so it looks like it's flowing.
Yeah. So predictions. One known issue around the time starting out with the collector was platform speed. With high quality thrusters, the platform could move extremely quickly, so turrets could not turn fast enough to shoot incoming asteroids in time. I knew this could be a big problem for the collector as well. The collectors cannot just constantly test every chunk every frame. It was necessary to narrow down the selection. To that effect, every time a new chunk spawns, it will cast a line forward and register with all collectors along its way. Since the limiting factor is availability of arms, it's the arm which checks for incoming chunks whenever it finishes its previous task. The design gives us more room to project the chunk position forward based on how long it will take the given arm to get to it and arrange a punctual rendezvous. In addition, super fast chunks no longer pose a problem because even those will be registered in advance. The arms move in position and intercept the chunks the moment they touch the collection area. So the collection area is some area around it, but we can see the yellow points are like, that's when it's my turn, that's when it's mine, that's when it's I'm going to be the closest to be able to grab it. And the idea is that, yes, they try and grab whatever's closest to that yellow point first. And if they can't, that's okay. Maybe another one could get it. So anything that passes through the left-hand side might get grabbed by the one that's second down. Otherwise, there is a piece that falls into, well, the belt and the inserters and the guns and just collides into the hull. Yep.
Yeah, it gets a little red line.
Yep. Because it's traveled too far, and that's fine. That's fine. If it's been shot up enough and it's small enough, it doesn't do any damage, and that's really the important part. But yes, in conclusion, once the major work was wrapped up, it was just a matter of finishing off the smaller details before the collector was ready to go to the master branch. This is things like building restrictions, blueprint support, copy paste, etc. Since the nav mesh and Nervous system all new code, there was a lot of writing tests, chasing down edge cases, and fine-tuning the performance. Over in our playtest, we're happy to say the Asteroid Collector works really well, and to give the platforms a unique look and gameplay that we're hoping for. And as always, the devs looking forward to collecting your opinion chunks with their tentacles. Yes. I like it. This is still my favorite feature. And I want to build a space platform that one, travels fast, and two, shoots lots of things, and three, I want to do one with lasers too, because lasers are an option.
I thought they said that the lasers were super power hungry.
Oh, they are. You just need more solar panels. How the hell you make a platform that's big enough to have enough solar panels that has enough? I don't know. That sounds like a future JD problem. Long and skinny. Long and skinny should let you put on lots of solar panels, but then you probably can't put in that many thrusters. So can I layer the thrusters? I don't know. These are all questions that must be answered. But yes, I'm waiting to play with tentacles. And I am now curious, now that we've mentioned it, I am curious to see if somebody drags out this particular tentacle mod thing, concept art, and we end up seeing that in a future mod.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could you see these at the front of the... Yep.
All of those that are old enough to remember Day of the Tentacle are also old enough to have seen Spider-Man 2. So we're like, yeah, mechanical tentacles, go for it.
Oh, yes. I'm wondering if we're going to end up seeing one of these concept arts with the tentacle things out the front of people's bases. Can we use this to grab a biter? You know, in a mod. It's not going to be a base game, but in a mod, can you reach out and grab a behemoth?
It looks like there's a whole bunch of things that are configurable on it. So I'm sure there'll be mods to have them have stupidly long reach and lots of tentacles. Yeah, like the Spidertron ones that are like, oh, this is my 16-legged spider.
Oh, yeah. Or the 6-legged one I get for those that are arachnophobic. The 2-legged one is just a little bit weird. The 1-legged one just is... Yeah, okay, we just moved on. I'm also wondering to see if we see the inserter arm grabby thing, long-handed inserter arm asteroid grabber. I'm wondering if somebody's going to end up modding that into.
That's just Bob's inserters set to.
Oh yeah. It's Bob's asteroid collector. Yep. I love it. All right. Well, with that, anything else you want to add, Ironwolf?
No, thank you for having me in.
Not a problem. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for filling in for Mojo, who is absent this week. Hopefully, he'll be back next week. And I finally did Friday Facts number 385 actually on the week 385 came out. So, with all that said and done, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. And we'll see you in, well, the very next video. All right. Bye.